from that standpoint, if you look at the out of work auto workers who are listening to Donald Trump,
Right.
and we see that a few weeks ago, all you auto guys were in Washington, D.C. with him. How do you roll back 20 years of investment in other countries other than America, investment in Mexico, investment in Canada? How do you roll that back so that these people can be comfortably, reassured that they can one day go back to work for an auto company? I mean, is that realistic? Or
it's realistic to the point where every day in the automotive industry and the supplier industry, decisions are being made where future capacity will be added and which plants will be shut down. So, with the proper set of realistic regulations and realistic financial incentives in the form of lower corporate taxation, it will tip the balance in many decisions where it's borderline right now. And when it's borderline, you tend it to go to Mexico or Korea or whatever. But this a change in the financial fundamentals, led by a change in the corporate tax, could well tip a lot of future investment decisions back to the United States, and that's what he's counting on. And I would say the UAW members and other unions should not high-five each other and say, "Hey, man, we've got our guy in the front office now, so we can go back to the good old days." No, if the unions don't understand that this is still a fight for American industrial survival, and do what they can to make it easier to produce in the United States, then it's all going to fail.
So you think he can keep his promise of bringing back jobs in the manufacturing segment? Because there's a lot of people who are sitting back hoping that he can fulfill those promises of bringing back jobs. Because no matter what, what drives a good economy is people have money in their pockets.
Sure.
And that's what people are looking at. Can you give me kind of a Reader's Digest version of how he could realistically, he made promises for his first 100 days. Let's give him a year.
Yeah.
What do you think we'll see in a year?
Well, there'll be some successes and again, it presupposes that he changes the corporate tax rate and makes terrific progress on deregulation and stuff like that. I think within a year, we can expect to see some announcements in all kinds of industries, whether it's appliances or chemical industry or automotive manufacturing or airplane manufacturing. We could see a lot of decisions where U.S. plants are expanded, American employment is increased, where in the old days it would have shrunk further. So we'll see some progress now. Will we be back to full industrial employment in after 1 year of his tenure? The answer is no, of course not. But if we get it turned around and pointing in the right direction, and remember, there are only three ways to create value for a society. One is to pull it out of the ground in the form of gas and oil, and or gold or iron ore or whatever, and thanks to fracking, the U.S. is in better shape than it's been in the last 50 years in that respect. The second is to grow it, and American agriculture is still the world leader in productivity and quality and forecast to remain that way. And the third way to add value is through manufacturing, where bond trading does not add value. It just swaps value from one person to another, but it doesn't add value. So if we want a prosperous middle class, which we have been losing over the last 20 or 30 years, where now we have a society that is increasingly settling, and we have a bipolar society. We don't have a nice pyramid anymore with a lower class, a lower middle class, upper middle class, bottom of the wealthy class, super wealthy class. What we have now is this thing of some billionaires growing by leaps and bounds, multimillionaires growing nicely, and then we've got this skinny trunk on the tree and with a huge base and root system of people who are not as well off as they should be. And that's what he's trying to fix. A country can only exist if you've got a pyramid with that nice big fat chunk of good wage earning middle class people. And I'll tell you, burger flipping and doing internet stuff, that does not make people wealthy.